We had souvenirs and sold the orange juice and cold drinks, and then that went so well that they put a little 3-table restaurant behind it and a little kitchen. We sold hamburgers and hot dogs, and we lived off that thing. Hard work, but we lived off of it for many years until he put the big restaurant we had there in '53. He finished it, but he built one building at a time, and he never had a mortgage on the place. He paid for everything as he went. I don't think anybody could do that now, but he did. It was amazing. But they were hard workers, just hard workers. And anyway, I started in school in the 5th grade. I had missed a whole year of school, but I had gone to a parochial school up in New Jersey for a couple of years, and I was still a year ahead of everybody here, other than science. I hadn't had any science. But I enjoyed the school. Oh, I got to tell you about the road from Bunnell to Flagler Beach, where we have 100 now. It was a 1-lane brick road. When you met another car, you took 2 wheels off the road, and the other car you met on it. 12 miles long between Bunnell and Flagler Beach, where now it's 8 miles. That came in 1950. They put the 2-lane road in, and now, of course, we have a 4-lane. So it was quite. I got on the school bus in the morning. It was a little over 25 miles to go to Bunnell. And I was the first one on, like Don said, last one off at night. And it was quite different. But it was a great place to grow up. In the Hammock, well, we didn't call it the Hammock. We called it the Woods. We didn't have a name. It was just the Woods. But I guess we got together in the Likens yard. Do you remember that? Probably somewhere in the 60s. We had to have a name for this little unincorporated place. And some wanted to call it Johnsonville, and others had other ideas, but we ended up with the Hammock, because the Hammock in Spanish means a tree-shaded place, and that's what we had. Yeah, it really was. And anyway, we trying to think back on some of the things we did. Don told you a lot of it. Oh, well, that comes later. That was in 1980.
Where are the springs that y'all?
Right across.
I know they're covered over.
No, they're still open. I just walked down there the other day. But the springs are all shut down. They were artesian wells, and the state came through. They had to be shut down because they ruin the water wherever they are. Wherever they're flowing, they're ruining the water.
Because it really did have sulfur?
So, yes, it was sulfur. No two ways about it. Just that little swimming pool you were talking about up at Washington Oaks. That was in the Young's estate then. When they were up north, Frisco, and Jimmy Lopez's father would let us kids go in there and swim. It was just little 12 foot by 6 foot, maybe, little sulfur water. You could smell it from a mile away. But it was great to us that we didn't have a swimming pool, you know. But the Sulphur Springs over there, that was probably in the 60s by the time everybody was.
So they never had clear springs, like, you know.
They were pretty clear. Now it's nasty looking because there's no moving water. But it kept moving, you know, and it was
clear?
Other than smelly, it was clear. Let's see. What all did we do? It was just. When I got a couple years older, they let me have a bicycle. And I know they were scared to death. I was on the highway. I was an only child. And there was no bike lane. When I saw a car coming, I had to ride facing the traffic, and when I saw a car coming, I'd get off. I'd get in, stop the bicycle in the sand. And then when there was no cars, I'd get back on. But the traffic wasn't like it is now either, you know. It was quite different. But I always had horses. We all talk about having animals. We've had it all on our place. Of course, we got 12.5 acres, so we could have what we wanted. We had a great big pig for a pet, and I had chickens, and my father caught wild pigs, and I had to feed them, and it used to scare me to death. he had a fence that tall, I had to climb up a ladder and throw the slop in. When I came home from school, I had to change clothes because you didn't know if you were going to get that can of slop back at you or they were going to eat it. We had a mean boar in there. My father bred the pigs, and then we ate pigs, you know. It was a different way of life. It was tough but good.
Did you all go to the ocean much?
Oh yeah, on Sundays that was our day. We'd go to the ocean. That was our entertainment. You know, my grandmother lived with us always, and she'd make a picnic lunch, you know, and chicken and all. We'd go down and get burned up like everybody else. But it was a lot of work. What did I miss in through there, Don?
So far, I think it was, you know, one of the things that we did have, and it was like, you know, we complained, on 16th, at the end of 16th Road, back here in those days, there was an old, what was left over from an old watchtower. During World War II, they had these towers.
We had one on Malacompra.
Was it Malcolm? I thought it was.
It was Malacompra, yeah.
Right down here? Yep.
Yeah, it was a, yeah, for the war, watching out for the German subs and the plane and everything.
And you also, I missed, you know, after I went to services and everything started happening around here, because Brett, my brother-in-law, was married to my sister Peggy, and Carol and all these people, my brother, they started getting cars. And they take an old rag, take the body off of it, and make a beach buggy out of it. And unfortunately, we loved riding on the beach. They did. But they ride up and down the Coast Guard Road, which is right out here. So I think the only thing left is the little section that has been designated as a national treasure, whatever you want to call it.
Coast Guard Road.
Yeah, it's Old Coast Guard Road. And I think one of the reasons, I'm not sure, this was one of the things I was told, that hotel that ITT built,
The Sheridan.
the Sheridan, they put it right on the Coast Guard Road.
Oh, yeah.
And guess
My
what?
husband loved
They didn't
that.
get a quick deed to put it there.
Well, they lived to regret that when my husband come along.
Yeah, well, that's true
I
too.
started going with my husband when I was 16 in 10th grade, and we got married since we got out of high school. And
Yep. And the
we're happy
54
together for 50 years, so it worked. It doesn't work so well now a lot of times, but it did for us. And he was quite a guy. He started the Friends of the Barry Island because he did not like what ITT was doing to our county. We loved our rural county, and he could see what was going to happen to him, and he hated it. And he fought them tooth and nail. He didn't even work for about 8 years. Thank God I was working. And he fought them. And he found out about the Coast Guard Road that had never been vacated, and he took them to task with it and a whole bunch of other things. He gave them hell for 8 years. And then that's how we have city water in the Hammock, because he held their feet to the ground and to the fire and said, you have to give us water. Everybody that had donated just $25 to his Friends of the Barry Island, we met right here in the old building here. Anybody that had just given that much money was given a water setup. I mean, I don't know what it costs now, $3,000 or more. I don't know. Everybody, yeah, I paid for mine. He wouldn't take it for himself. After he died, I had to put the water in my house. It cost me $3,000 at that time. I understand it's a lot more expensive now. But let's see. Malacompra. When I was a kid, in that same old 1940 pickup truck my daddy built the whole place with, Malacompra was a rut to rut. It's about that wide. And the palmettos hung over it. You could hardly see it. It was a road there. But he'd go through it with that old Ford and take me to the beach. And if I had a girlfriend staying with me or something, we'd stay up on the beach till we got burnt to a crisp under the old Coast Guard tower. And he'd come back and get us at night, you know. And one time, I remember we had a humongous rattlesnake lived in the Hammock. And when I was a kid, I would ride on the back of that old truck with my feet hanging down. And my daddy hollered, "Get your feet up," one time, and just as he ran over this snake, I swear to God, it was as big as a tire, this rattlesnake. And it lived for a long, long time. Somebody, I guess, finally killed it. I don't know what happened to it. But we saw a lot of rattlers back then. So it was a different time, a different thing. Yeah.
How long ago did they cut those roads through like Moody and Flagler?
Marina and Acres. That was, well, that started out, a company in Miami bought that land and just rough, put it in there. And had a sign up, I remember. My father used to put their flyers in the sign when they'd run out. And that was probably in the 60s. And it, you know, nobody much lived up there. And it's always been a place where water, it's too low, really, to be there. It's always been a problem there with the water. I don't know how it's ever going to change, but that's when it came in